Hello, I'm Catherine Corelli and welcome to my channel. Γεια σας, είμαι η Κατερίνα Corelli, καλώς ήρθατε στο κανάλι μου. This is episode 400, Cat Vibes 400, and this is the first of its kind. It's not oil painting, this time we're going into sketching, and more specifically I'm doing an oil pastel sketch for the Oia story. This is actually, I'm starting from the very beginning, chapter 1, and the very first scene. I think the subsequent painting is going to be called something like The Pit, something to that effect. And every painting, every scene from every chapter of Οδειπορικό της Οίας, The Journey of Oia, will have an English title and a Greek title. That's how I see it. That's the vision, basically. And just because, you know. So this is the first one. Frankly, I haven't tried anything with oil pastels in a very long time. So, and these are oil pastels from a brand that I never tried before. So it's, you know, well, it's a sketch, it's a study. You've seen the charcoal sketch and you've seen the pencil sketch, and now I'm just trying to, I'm not that concerned with form really here. I'm rather concerned with the tone and the color. And I think I will be making my own pastel paper, because buying pastel paper, first of all, it's not really as good as I thought it would be. And the oil penetrates anyways. So I think I'll be buying watercolor paper. I will be gessoing it, and I will be tinting it myself. And I will be gluing it onto a support, most likely chipboard. So that way, I'll make sure that my oil pastels are well preserved. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to overthink it. I just want to establish a routine and enough supplies and materials so that I can just focus on doing my little pastel studies and not worrying about that I don't have a fixative, or I don't have enough material, I don't have enough pastels, or I run out of pastel paper or something like this. No, I just want to set up, you know, a routine, get into it, and keep going. And that's kind of how I like it. You know, I like to set up the logistics for something. Like with oil painting, for example, I have a routine. I don't build only one, you know, underframe. I usually build in bulk. So I take a whole lot of wood. I do bulk cutting, like in 1, 2, 3 days, I slice, you know, I sand down a whole lot of boards. Then I cut them lengthwise with a table saw. Again, 2-3 days and we're good. I carefully go through all the material. Everything that I don't need is burnt. Everything that can be used, you know, even for other projects, you know, little cut-offs or whatever, I store it. And it comes in handy later. So then I do the miter cuts, and that's another 2, 3, 4 days, depending on the volume of how many boards, how many planks have I cut. And usually it's a lot, and there are different sizes, different ratios, so I do all the calculations myself, I scale things, I do these kind of things. And I've developed a technology how to build underframes very cheap, in a very efficient way. Then I glue them together. You know, again, there is, you know, sanding down things in between. Some of it is sanding down by hand, you know, making sure that everything fits, making sure that it all works, you know, and then there is glue and nails. Then that goes in. It's another, you know, 2-3 days, especially if it's larger underframes, right? And in between braces and that kind of thing. And I love this kind of work. I gotta say, I love this kind of work. I love to be in that flow, because it kind of, when I do everything from the get-go, it feels really rewarding to then finally get to the canvas and actually start a painting. You know, It's very different from buying a pre-stretched canvas and painting on it. It's a whole different feel, I'm telling you. And then when I have all the underframes made, a whole batch, like last time, literally just last week, I finished building like 30 of them, and some of them are like really large, 5 or 6. Then others are medium range, and there's a couple small ones. Now I will be stretching canvases on them. That's going to be the next step. Then the next step is gessoing, first sizing all of these canvases in one go. Again, 1-2 days and we're good. Then it's going to be another 1-2-3 days gessoing all of this and making sure that it's all consistent and I've toned it the way I wanted, that I've set myself up. Because usually when I build, even in the early stage when I'm building the underframes, I already know roughly what kind of painting will this will there be, you know? So that informs me as far as like tinting the gesso. Then they will dry for a while. They will just stand there. I have a fan, a ceiling fan right now working in my room because it's like 34 centigrade or what is it, like 94 Fahrenheit, something like this in Kentucky here. It's very hot. And then all of these canvases will stand there and dry for days and days until they're completely dry. Meanwhile, I'll continue painting and sketching and, you know, working on whatever else I have to do. And then when the time will come, I will have a new batch of ready-to-paint canvases for these 2 massive projects. That's kind of how I operate. So I want to set up the same logistics for pastels. And something tells me that I'll be cycling through pastel paper a lot faster because this is not an oil painting. I don't have, my objective here is not really to do like a stellar job. It's mostly like a study, a sketch, something in between a study, a sketch, and sort of like a finished little work in its own right, you know. And sure, I'll spray some fixative, and sure, I want to, you know, put some support, glue it onto some support, and maybe I will make some of these pastels available if they kind of are fine for sale. If they're not, it's not a big deal because after all, you know, my pencil sketches, my drawings, you know, and things of such nature, I don't really intend to sell them. You know, maybe I will compile kind of an album of these works, of this prep material. Well, here's the finished little sketch. You know, it's just a sketch. You know, it's not a finished painting. But for my intensive purposes, that was enough. That's exactly what I was going for. And it focuses just on a fragment of the future painting. The future painting is going to be larger. There's going to be a lot more in it. There's going to be the huge pit. There's going to be a serpent in the pit. You know, there's going to be a large sky, and it's all going to be a, you know, a moonlit landscape and mountains in the distance and that kind of thing. That's going to be in the finished painting. So I don't know. Maybe I will. Once I get to the Ia story, right? I will probably collect drawings and sketches into a separate, I'll photograph them or I'll scan them and I'll collect them into a separate kind of album, art album, which I will make available alongside, you know, when the first chapter of the Ia story is complete, then I will also provide, you know, a book of sketches, studies, and that kind of thing. You know, I don't know. I'm thinking about this, and give it as bonus material to accompany the album. You see what I mean, right? So it will show up, but oil pastels or soft pastels or hard pastels, the way I see it is that I'm just playing around. I'm just experimenting. I'm doing little studies. So this is the finished little study right here. And with that being said, thank you very much for being with me. And until next time, ciao.